Today on One Man Garage, we're traveling down 45. Gonna go buy some car parts for Oldsmobile instead of working on cars. Yeah, you just have to stop at Buc-ee's when you're passing through Madisonville, you know. It's a Texas thing, you might not understand. But yeah, just grab me a monster drink and a praline and some cash, because we're going down here to Conroe and buying a Performer RPM Edelbrock manifold for a small block Oldsmobile, which, if y'all familiar with my channel and my cars, and you know I got a couple 350, 310 horse 1970 Oldsmobiles, and these intakes are pretty expensive, and I had one a few years ago I bought during COVID. I got a pretty good deal, but I paid the most I'd ever paid for a used manifold, $250. But then during that time, there was like no inventory at Summit, and they ran out of stock, and I decided to take advantage of the, you know, kind of a seller's market situation, and I took advantage, and I resold that used manifold I paid $250 for and sold it for $400 local. And then I had a almost new condition Pontiac Torquer 2 manifold, which is a pretty good race manifold for Pontiac, especially for hood clearance, and I paid like $80 for it, and decided I probably wasn't going to use it because I probably wasn't building a turbo car or nothing, and I sold it for like $300. So I made some good manifold money, you know, back then. So that's, but I still wanted to have an RPM Olds intake. Well, this one popped up on Craigslist asking $250, and before we went out of town on a cruise we just got back from, I had asked on the email what's the lowest he'd take for it, and he came back and it said $150. And I was like, well shoot, that's a hell of a deal, because man, it's hard to get a chance to even buy a used RPM small block Olds intake. So there I go. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm buying. So we'll probably be down there in about an hour or less, and we'll show it to you. Well, here she is, nice condition as advertised. Turns out this fella, he's 20 years older than me. I'm not gonna show his property, but he's great shape, working on tons of cars. Said he builds like 8 to 10 engines a month and doing all this muscle car only stuff, installs, and as supposed to be a retired guy, but turns out he's a former professional Snap-on sponsored drag racer, and been around a long time, 60s and 70s. So yeah, northbound on 45, heading home. Already left Conroe. That was really fun running into this guy, you know, ought to be retired. Instead, he's like a multi-business owner, busy as all get out, and working on lots of cool stuff, and former pro drag racer with a sponsor and all that. Snap-on back in the day. Supposedly you can find them online. He said something about 1966, maybe at some nationals or something. He said it had, back then he ran a 301-inch small block Chevy, which is like a board over 283, 57 Chevy, 4-speed, I guess. It was running 10s and a quarter mile, naturally aspirated. That's some serious running back in 1966. Impressive. But yeah, we're gonna stop off and see my old friend Ronnie Tanner. You may know him on TikTok as Mr. Performance. So go check out Mr. Performance on TikTok. We're gonna see him here in a minute. He's got something in mind. I was getting back from him, and we'll show you that in a minute.
How are you doing?
It's my friend Ronnie Tanner, Mr.
Yes,
Performance.
Mr. Performance,
Mr.
TikTok.
Performance, TikTok. Yeah, good
How you
to
doing,
see
Larry?
you.
Pontiac Larry.
Yeah, not bad.
Brought
Not
you
bad.
some
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Brought you some goodies.
Right on. Oh,
bought
extra
this
goodies. The
Brand
Clipper.
new in the 1990s when I was building a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Never used it.
Well, I'm going to use it. Thank you.
I hope so.
Cool.
And
Floor pan crimping.
here's the original.
Right, that's my original.
That's your original
1970 Ram Air 3 4-speed Trans Am steering wheel, my third car. And then there's the one that's the broke.
Well, I was hoping maybe you could use this or some of this
to
maybe patch up that.
Maybe, or I'll try to repair that better.
All right.
Yep, still driving home after stopping off to visit my old friend Ronnie Tanner, Mr. Performance. Yeah, Ronnie and I have been friends, I think, 23 years. I met him at the Texas Motorplex, drag racing like on a Friday or Saturday test and tune thing. He was driving a 69 GTO Judge. They had a 455 swap, and I was driving that I had inherited from my best friend, my brother in Pontiac, Paul. It was a 1980 Formula Firebird with a 455 we built in 1989. It was still in it, and this would be 2003, and I was driving to that track in that car with some dry rotted slicks on the stock wheels, and you know, ended up racing him, kind of a Pontiac versus Pontiac thing when we met, and I smoked his butts what I did. I think he even had, back then that car, I think he ran 13 something on motor, and I think he had a little bottle or something to run 12s on the bottle. But we ran again a second time and he hosed it. But the Formula that I was driving, the 80 Formula, street sleeper extraordinaire since 1989, or 88 really, when it had a 400. I was running like 12 ones in the quarter, and I think his bottle pass was like a 12.6 or 7, and I still smoked him. It was pretty funny. So that's how we met anyways. And that's the same Ronnie Tanner that I bought the car in my early part of One Man Garage. I had that black 78 Formula 404 speed car that's rare, one of 810. And he had that car previous. I'd bought that from him, and it was one of the cars he had most regretted, you know, selling out of all these bazillions of cars he's had. And he had that 69 Firebird 400 all this time, and that's when I made that offer of that trade. And I was like, well, I'd be willing to trade if we could get that real 69 Firebird 400, because my heart and my wife's heart lies a little stronger to a 68, 69 cars than the later ones. I mean, we like the later ones, but man, I'm just muscle car era. That's just what I like the best. So that's how we ended up doing that trade. So the 69 project I have now, and he's been working on and fixing a lot of stuff that never got fixed on that 78, which hopefully this year might even get painted. We'll see. But yeah, it was good to see him and get my old steering wheel back from my old Lucerne Blue Ram Air 3/4 speed 1970 and a half Trans Am. It was my daily driver when I even met my wife before we got married. It was like a low 13-second car with a, you know, correctish 400 in it. Just had a GTO block in it, and it was a good one, man. But I couldn't afford to really restore it, and it went away, you know, in the 90s. That was, I think I bought it in the early 90s and had it for at least 4 years. I'm not sure. But never mind that. We'll show a picture of that some other time. We need to get back to the house. Got to do some power washing while it's still nice out. 86 degrees, February in Texas. Gotta love it. Oh yeah, one other thing I was going to talk about, some of Ronnie's other projects. He's so close to being able to drive it also. A few years ago, he scored a great deal on basically a Survivor condition body, original paint, gold 1970 Buick GS 455. And the original engine, I believe, was already rebuilt but wasn't reinstalled. And I believe the original transmission with a switch pitch or something, maybe that was added. I'm not sure. I think it's original transmission. And so he's fired that up already before with everything in it. He just has some finishing up things to do and some brake work, just because it hadn't been on the road in a real long time. But so keep trying to keep him motivated, you know. He's 10 years older than I am, and he's been a hardcore car guy and mechanic his whole life, and he's a good friend and enthusiastic, always, you know, helpful and helping everybody else when he can. But I'd like to see him get that GS going soon as well. Decided to remanufacture this intake I just got, make it official small block Oldsmobile gold VHT. It's just metallic gold flake SP 404. Good enough. That's what I painted the engines. And there's my old beloved 70 TA original wheel that's in shitty condition. I may go ahead and post the video I never posted of when I did some body work to get where we are right here, which isn't finished even though it's almost there. But I guess I'll go ahead and give you the dirties details of what it took to get that excellent bumpered tucked fitment on the old Catalina. Temporary installation in my OnlyFans section, of course, here at One Man Garage. OnlyFans. Also position the Catalina like this because we're gonna back the Ram up, maybe find the right place to rig up something with some holes and ratchet strap it off of the back of the truck to pull some dents today, maybe. To say this bodywork attempt was inspired by Derek Bierry on his independent Chevelle, and this car is not really much better condition than that one. We're gonna see if we can pull some dents on One Man Garage. I think there's some angry wasps in my well, nearby. Anyway, enlarge this hole, put some washers on the other side. There's two areas that are crinkled in. This needs to get to about here. You can see the big ripple here and a big ripple here. So if I pull here and here a little at a time until this lines up with that, I think it'd be good enough to smooth the quarterback out and get the bumper to fit. That's the plan. So we're going to ratchet on it and maybe sit this where you could see it. Maybe maybe that works. Sure. Originally, I was gonna pull behind my trailer. I can see that's pulled out quite a bit. That's actually not bad, except the gap's worse on the bottom. Let me pull the tension off. Maybe I'll switch to the lower hole. Maybe it'd be easier if I just backed up my truck. I drilled a lower hole. Maybe this will be the money shot. car. I'm sure I've made some progress, though it doesn't look like it. Might have to, well, you know, get some more ideas. Almost be easier to cut a half-inch out of the bumper and weld it back together and just tuck over all the damage. Yeah, right. Well, actually, that's easier. But I ain't shit foos. I ain't even got a MIG welder, so. Part of me wants to think that that did a little something. It's just, originally I was going to park behind the winch of the trailer and jam the axle and the wheel with a wheel between it to the back of my trailer so the car won't slide. So we might still be doing that. That was plan A. This was the conservative suggestion from Daniel at work. And it's fine, but I need a little more tug than what it takes to slide the car. So, we'll see. What if a guy put it in 4 low lock, gave it a little tug? Just kinda. I'll be damned, that actually worked. We've almost, wow, that was a big difference. Just playing around, giving it a little tuggy tug. Go back to the bottom hole and then the top hole and do the same thing. A little bouncy tug on the lower hole. It's actually lining up. Yeah, some of this will have to be banged back in, of course, but look how close we are to centering the deal. Not bad. Had another hole in between the top one and the middle one. well, it ain't all gone, but man, I think I'm gonna stop there for now. Then I can maybe do some hammering and grind the Bondo off. But this should mean that I could tuck the bumper finally. So that's kind of what the whole point was, besides redoing this mess. The grinder out to do some professional body work, knock some of the Bondo off. Of course, this thing's all crap and might end up getting all cut off anyway. I really just want to tuck the bumper, but since we're doing a cruise in tomorrow and I may drive this to church, I'll just put some white stuff on it. You know, nobody will notice the rest. It'll be nice. Now, some of y'all out there saying, "Are you for hire? Come do my car." I'm sorry, no, just privateer here. I got a regular job. This is, I'm not trying to show off, but you can barely tell that that's had any body damage. That's still junk, but it's way better than it was. It's a, you know, I still think that bumper's pushed in the middle. You see, I got a gap here. It's similar. It's actually pretty much from the bottom of the lens to my joint and my finger. Yeah, it's actually the same. So it's like equal gap garbage, but it's better than it was. Now we're trying to pull the crown back into the bumper because it was pushed in the middle. Couldn't tuck it all the way. Took the license plate light off too that was hitting the sheet metal, but I think it's working. Well, that's as tight as it's gonna get, I think. That bumper. Got this side dialed in real tight. You can tell there's a little bit more work to be done. Might have pulled it out a little far. We're gonna beat some of that back in later. Still got more Bondo to dig out. Basically, it looked like they just used a carpenter's hammer and slammed on it, threw Bondo on it. That's pretty much what the previous person did. So, I mean, I think we're moving in the right direction. But hey, it's something. Up to this fine quarter panel I was looking at and noticed the part I yanked out is what's keeping me from tucking this farther. So I'm just gonna hit that with a chisel. And I got a race this weekend, Little River Vintage Drags. So this is gonna look like shit, but over the winter I'll be trying to see if I can hammer and, you know, both sides or whatever, try to get it flatter before we re-Bondo it later. It's crap. Oh yeah, beautiful gap. Not really. But hey, whatever. Something. I'd show you that my makeshift silicone and plastic push-in doodad actually worked. So that's cool. The car's practically restored. Yeah, I decided to combine this old footage from last year that I put in this video I never posted, kind of the play off of the gold at the beginning with painting that intake I got yesterday, exposing the gold paint on this car. And as far as this, I power washed. I mentioned something about power washing earlier. Power washed and got the foam out of the quarter panel because, you know, it's really not a permanent repair. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna, kind of want to try to make a panel for this on the bottom, see if I can pull it off. If I don't, oh well, whatever, no loss. And then try to dolly this stuff a little smoother before it gets filler. Just try to, it'll probably just get filled in again. I mean, it's still junk, it needs quarter panel, but just want to play around, see if I can make, maybe I can make a panel. Smooth that up a little bit, spray paint it for it's just race car. But I want to show you the, see this god-awful baby blue over the gold, no primer, no sanding, but they did the jams back in the day. So that's what I was power washing off to say that I struck gold. I'll show you the trunk. So when I had the power washer out a while back, this hole under the deck lid was that nasty baby blue. And I actually knocked that all off easily since they didn't sand anything or primer it, and at least got the gold back. You know, I mean, it's still got rust holes and bits of blue here and there, but that's an improvement because that blue was horrible. I did manage yesterday to hit the door jamb here and got some gold back, and in this region got a lot of the blue off of it, and the vent area kind of got a lot of that blue knocked off and splattered it all in the inside of the car. But yeah, so struck gold, kind of a play on words to expose the gold paint of the Sandman 63 Catalina drag car. We'll get into the sand story at another time. Thanks for watching. Hope the bodywork doesn't scare you, but if you stuck around this long, think about subscribing. It's like 92% of my watch time people aren't even subscribed. So just subscribe. And I got hundreds of videos, so scroll through and find something, topic that you need to see, and watch it. Appreciate it. Thanks. Go watch Super Bowl. Later.